Nick, what more can you tell us? What kind of reaction has there been to his release there?
Well, it is definitely a surprise. We learnt during the night that Julian Assange had actually left the UK on a jet to Australia. Well, not yet to Australia, but to Bangkok first, where he is, I understand, currently his jet is on the tarmac, and he's about to fly indeed to those northern Mariana Islands. And we've been covering this from the very start, when he went for an interview to Scotland Yard over a decade ago, was suddenly spent a night in prison, was let out on bail, then, as you say, was in the Ecuadorian embassy for 7 years on a self-imposed exile, then got basically shunted out by the Ecuadorians and into a British prison where he'd been until yesterday afternoon. So we were expecting that at appeal. We were going to be reporting it on the 9th and 10th of July. It seems that a deal has been negotiated. We knew that when President Biden, of course, an election year, said that he was considering dropping the case against Julian Assange, this appears to be the deal that has been done. So from a high security prison in London to a jet, he's not out of the woods yet because he needs to go before a federal judge in those Mariana Islands in Saipan and actually plead guilty to one charge. And then the deal apparently that's been struck is he will then be a free man to return to Australia.
Benedict, as you said, this really took many people by surprise. It seemed to come out of nowhere. Do we have any idea how long this plea deal has been in the works?
We don't have firm details. The reaction of Stella Assange this morning, both on Twitter and also on a longish interview on British radio on the BBC, was to say she was elated. That's not surprising. She, as indeed her husband, they got married, by the way, while he was in prison. And they have two small children, two small boys, who, by the way, are in Australia with their mother, Stella, waiting for Julian Assange to return in the next 48 hours or so. It seems that she said it was touch and go. She can't quite believe that it is indeed happening. But she's just tweeted that flight VJ199 will soon take off from Saipan. She says that Saipan is a remote US overseas territory, that he will be entering the United States, and adds Julian won't be safe until he lands in Australia. Please keep tracking his flight. So clearly still an anxious Stella Assange, a lawyer herself who'd been defending her husband, trying to get him out of jail. And there he is, very close, it would appear, to freedom after over a decade going through the British legal system. And it has to be said that whether it's the original extradition case that we followed at Woolwich Crown Court, the Supreme Court, the High Court, he lost all of those. But he was absolutely banking on that appeal on the 9th and 10th of July. He's now in Bangkok, about to fly to US territory in these islands. And then could he be a return in Australia in the next 48 hours? That is his family, his lawyers, his supporters' big freedom fight for journalism. They were very worried that this could create a precedent for any country trying to reach out and have a journalist. He says he's a journalist, he's a publisher, and when he was trying to fight for freedom. But of course, this is disputed by America, who said that he endangered many lives with the publication of those extra sensitive confidential US cables.
Benedict, thanks for that. It's also been many years. You've been covering this story for us as well. So thank you for that. And that is really an incredible development in that story of Julian Assange.